And I saw this clip of Jon Stewart talking to a Republican. Honestly, I had the thought, you should get his name just so you can provide people with the information. And honestly, I thought, who cares? Who cares which Republican he's talking to? This Republican represents all Republicans. Every single Republican that you've heard in all of these clips so far today on this show, they all say the same thing. And what's nice about this clip is Jon Stewart tells this Republican exactly what we're all feeling.
You want to ban drag show readings to children.
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning that? Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
And he is not wrong. Again, no mountain of dead kids is high enough for Republicans because they don't fucking care. They don't. And I challenge anyone to convince me otherwise, because if they did care, they would do something small, something incremental to get us toward a society that doesn't have to contend with mass shootings on a more than daily basis.
Yeah. And I want to tell the people that are, on the left, who consider themselves on the left, who may be falling prey to this coordinated attack to have you turn against the trans community. This is another instance where the right is using this shooting to try to further their attacks on the trans community. And all of this is linked. And we recently watched a Vice News clip from, I think the reporter is named Vegas something. Again, I should have noted this. What's wrong with me not getting names?
And he's in Idaho.
Yeah, he actually went to Idaho at a church called The Well, and it had like a vaguely sexual slogan.
Yeah, come thirsty and drink it up,
no,
or something like that.
That's seriously what it was.
I think that's what it is.
I mean, it's something
obscene. It's something about thirsty and drink as much as you can pour down your gullet.
So again, it highlighted this network of Christian nationalist groups that are advancing these bills across the country, not only
in a coordinated way.
In a coordinated attack on the trans community. And this one is specifically about banning drag, but he actually talked to, I think, the leader of this church about what he ultimately wants to see in our society.
What would your ideal America look like?
So we would want to see government following biblical law when it comes to moral issues. It would look more like the United States in the 17 and 1800s. When you follow God's laws, you experience the same type of prosperity, freedom, no matter what time you're implementing those laws in.
Well, I wouldn't say that America was necessarily a free country back in the 18th century.
I would beg to differ. America at that time was the most free country in the world and has remained that way since.
What's going to happen to gay people?
Somebody who is same-sex attracted would have just as much of a place in society. We would probably not recognize, a marriage.
So not really. Not really just as much of a place.
Oh, absolutely just as much of a place.
But there would be certain things that they would be barred from.
No, they wouldn't be barred from anything that anyone else would be allowed to do.
Except marriage.
Well, they could still get married, right? They would just have to marry somebody of the other biological sex. So
What?
Yeah, we have to set boundaries on marriage, right? We already do with polygamy.
Do you ever wonder if you're like on the wrong side of Footloose with Kevin Bacon?
We don't want the dancing to take place.
Yeah, exactly. Well, is that what you're saying?
No, of course not. But we will keep pushing until biblical truth and Christian morality is the prevailing philosophy in the public square.
So the scary thing about this, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing the video. If you're listening to this on whatever podcatcher you use to listen to the show, you're not watching it. But this guy is saying all of this with a full teeth smile.
Oh, yeah.
Every single tooth in his mouth is visible when he's smiling. And that's to ingratiate you to what he's saying, right? He's saying it in a friendly way. He doesn't sound vicious. He doesn't sound mean.
No, they'd have all the rights of everyone else.
He's not raising his voice. He's not attacking. But what he's saying is horrifying.
It's dehumanizing. He's saying that the United States of America was the freest it's ever been in the 17 and 1800s, when slavery was the order of the day, when women didn't have the right to vote. If you were black, you couldn't vote in this country. And he wants, by his own words, he didn't use the phrase Christo-Fascism, but that is what he is wanting. And they are making strides toward that, especially in states like Idaho right now.
Yeah, and I saw you have a reaction to the Footloose conversation, and I think we're on the same page.
Why make it all fucking cute? Oh, well, you want to ban dancing? Fucking shut up. Take this guy seriously. Don't make a goddamn joke out of it.
Well, and I think it's important to know when we talk about the coordinated attacks on the trans community right now, the coordinated legislation that they are distributing, trying to pass across the country with the anti-drag legislation, the bans on gender-affirming care. They are organizing across the country. They're going to churches to sell their message. They're going and they are organizing. The right wing is very good, very adept when it comes to organizing.
They are making Christian nationalism very palatable to the church-going crowd. I mean, he said, I want the government following biblical law. Well, we have the separation of church and state under the Constitution, the First Amendment of the Constitution. He's not, so he wants to do like Donald Trump advocates for, terminating the Constitution of the United States, because that's what that would take for us to implement biblical law in our government. Mm-hmm. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you're parroting anti-trans rhetoric, you're on this guy's team. You're not a good person. You're just not. Reevaluate how you feel about this. Human lives hang in the balance, not just about guns, but about the trans rights issue too. We want to know what you think. You can call, leave us a voicemail, 657-464-7609. Of course, you can email a voice memo from your smartphone to idoubt@dollemore.com.